Hi, I'm Richard Goodsell, and today we're going to be taking a look at the all-new Goodsell Dominatrix 18. The Dominatrix 18 gets its name from the Watkins Dominator, which was made on and off from the late 50s through the 80s. And what's interesting about this amp is it's the only Goodsell amp beside the Black Dog series that features two gain stages with a full tone stack in the middle. You have volume, bass, mid, treble, the ubiquitous reverb as found on all the others, and a master volume control that's incredibly transparent and gives up the goods at just about any volume level. Finally, on this amp, we have a Celestion greenback for that added British flavor, as if it weren't British enough, as it is. And now let's have my good friend Jody Worrell show us what this thing can do.
Boy, that is a huge sounding amp, man. That is like the Les Paul fully brought to life. This amp's got a bunch of tone controls up here I'm not used to seeing on your amp, so tell me about those.
Well, it's pretty atypical for me. I'm normally a single tone knob guy, but I wanted to stay in Great Britain, but I wanted to go to the other side of the river with this one, and so I've got a gain stage followed by a full tone stack, followed by another gain stage, and of course, as we mentioned, the Dominatrix gets its name from the Watkins Dominator, and this stays pretty close to that blueprint, which makes it similar to the Marshall 18. But I put a mid-range control where there once was none, and I can't believe nobody did that before, because it's just that's where all the juice is.
Well, let me ask you: is that mid-range control as ineffectual as most mid-range controls on most amps I've ever owned?
If you mean, will it make all the mid-range go away? It'll do that, sure.
Now, usually mid-range controls don't do much of anything. It sounds like this one does a lot.
This one's kind of crazy. It does more than either the bass or the treble, in my opinion, and maybe we can run through it real quick. But
sure.
For that introduction, we had it turned up pretty high, and that was a great cream tone you were copping there, by the way, Jody.
Very cool.
But if you want to hear it with the mid scooped out all the way, let's try this.
Yeah, dump them down a ways. That's all the way out.
Correct.
For the mid, so
yeah.
We should have kind of a smiley face.
Sure.
That's very interesting.
And I'm going to sneak it up a little bit while you're playing, you can hear the effect.
Okay. That is a massive difference that tone control makes.
Yeah, a ton of really useful sweep on that knob, and it wasn't rocket science. It was just replacing one resistor, and there it is, man, and it's in all its glory, and it makes a huge difference.
It really does, and that's with a pretty good amount of gain I see on your volume control there. What if we roll that volume off a little bit and turn that master up a little with it? What kind of sound are we going to get there?
That's going to clean it up. And the beautiful thing about this one compared to its British cousins from back in the day is it actually will get clean and have a pretty decent clean personality. So let's try that.
Very nice. Very nice. Cool.
Yeah, it's clean, but it's still a little edgier than the Val Pro. But now might be a good time to see what this sucker will do with a Stratocaster. What do you think, Jody?
I think that's the plan.
All right, then.
Well, that's really a great clean sound. Let's hear a little bit on like neck pickup. It's just so nice and there. That's a great sound.
You've forgotten more chords than I ever knew to begin with, man. Hey, do you want to answer the question, what would Jimmy do?
What would Jimmy do? Let's
Okay,
find out.
Let's see.
Jimmy turned that volume knob.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would. All right.
Very exciting sound. Huge.
That was Jimmy.
Massive, man. You know, and clean, I'm sure, too. And that was with the guitar down some to kind of de-emphasize the blowout.
Right.
But that's so clean.
Are you finding that you can get a lot of what you want just from the guitar's volume knob?
Absolutely. And I've left the tone all the way up, but man, I bet you a little tone down, the volume
It's rad.
down.
That's what you do, yeah. Do you want to try the 2 or the 4 position to see if something pretty is dwelling in there?
I will. My guitar doesn't have those positions, but we can find them probably.
That's a 3-way switch on that guitar?
Absolutely.
You are old school, man.
That sounds like it. Really clean. So that was the got a lot of high end. I mean, a lot of more high end than I would have thought it'd have, because that's one of the reasons I don't have those pickup selections. I don't want to suddenly find myself in it. But that sounds really good. My amps really just dull out and like cut in half in volume. Well, that's a great sounding amp.
That's my favorite spot on the Strat, too. So,
Number 2. Most everything I play sounds like number 2, but that's another thing.
well, Jody, thanks a lot, man. That sounds fantastic.
It's my pleasure. It's a great amp. I wish I owned one.
Could be arranged.
Yeah.